Tricia Huffman, aka your joyologist. Hi. What's up? How are you?
I'm good.
Yes, we are sitting.
Can I first say how proud I am of you? I was like getting teary-eyed because I just like remembering back in the day of you just starting your travel with meaning exploration, and now here you are bringing people together.
Well, and we'll talk more about that in a second because we actually connected at a part of my travel. So we'll get to that in a second. I want you to start actually first with your joyologist, because when you hear the title, you're like, okay, hey, cool, that's a great name. But what is it? What is it that you do? And you have some great products in the back. Just give us the kind of log line, what you're up to.
Yeah, basically through everything that I do, whether it's the product, the daily inspiration app, coaching, social media, is to be the reminder to own who you are and to, get out of your own way every day, to enjoy your life. You don't know, you could walk outside and get hit by a bus. Why are you making everything so hard on yourself? I feel like as humans, we're just always making everything so hard on ourselves and judging ourselves and keeping ourselves from experiencing joy. So also the main thing is that reminding you that your joy isn't out there somewhere, your worth, your feelings of enoughness. Once I have this, do this, be this, then I'll feel this. It doesn't work like that. You'll always be chasing something. So it's up to you to claim your joy every single day, to claim your value, to claim your enoughness. Let a size, an experience, I got here, I did that, and now I can, whatever. I'm married now, I have kids, I got this promotion. I can afford to go to Fiji.
And by the way, if you're going to go to Fiji, Stu Luke's right there. We'll help you.
Which I think that's amazing. But you have to experience it and have the joy and not just, I did it. Claiming your joy every day.
I love it. And what I'll say is, if you saw in the back, you have this Own Your Awesome cards.
Yes.
I want to just put this up because Nicole and I, we travel with our Own Our Awesome cards. We literally, one of my favorite things to do is, if I meet strangers, we'll have them pick out a card. Or we go to a group thing or Thanksgiving or a dinner party. It's just a fun conversation starter. I wanted to really just talk about that because I use your products as finding that. It's good reminders. But I love what you've kind of interweaving in what you're doing there. So
yeah, and I love that you do that.
I want to go back to this rock star lifestyle. And I'm going to put up some pictures because, as you said, you've worked with some big names in music and...
No big deal over there.
No big deal, Dolly. Hello.
Just me and Dolly hanging out.
Just me and Dolly on a speaker hanging out. Music engineer.
Yes, I was a live sound engineer, monitor engineer. Do you want me to explain?
Why don't you share what that is? Because please, I don't.
I thought you said you wanted to.
No, please. I think you do better than I
was a
would.
live sound engineer. I toured with bands. There are two engineers. The reason you can hear anything that a band is playing is because the sound engineer is controlling it. You can only hear these microphones because somebody's controlling it. Any amp, any instrument is from a sound engineer. So there's one in the front of house, which the audience hears, and then there's someone on the side of the stage that controls everything that each band member hears. Each band member gets their own mix that helps them perform. So the drummers will get a lot more bass, singers will get a lot more of the lead vocal or whatever. So I was a monitor engineer. So I mixed on stage for 12 people at a time. It's a very high pressure job that not very many females choose to do.
So you traveled the world.
I traveled the world over and over as a sound engineer. It's amazing.
But from there to here and everything in between, what were some of you had some life moments happen to you, you had some things kind of show up that put you on a different path?
Yeah, so I fell in love with traveling right away, and even before I went on tour. But when I went on tour, then I remember coming home with these big suitcases, packing at the end of the tour, the bus back up, and having these huge suitcases, and being why do I have this stuff? And I'm going home to an apartment full of stuff. So when I got back home, I got rid of like everything. And so for many years, I didn't have a place to live. And so when I wasn't on tour, then I would just go travel on my own. Okay, I'm gonna go backpacking through Costa Rica. Okay, I don't tour with Natalie Cole again until April. So I'm gonna go to Bali for a yoga retreat in March. And so I did a lot of traveling on my own and being paid to go around the world. And I was actually about to get on a plane to go to Australia for the first time on tour, and I got news that my father had been found dead in his car. And that was the start of a major life shift. I still went to Australia straight from the funeral because I didn't want to miss out on the travel opportunity. But honestly, I didn't know what else to do with myself. I mean, that's what other people do, right? You just keep going to work. And my work just happened to be traveling around the world. But it took its toll, and I remember being in airports around the world, and I was so distraught about my father dying, but I'd look around and see people everywhere and be like, well, why is everybody else in a bad mood and like snapping at people? Like, why are so many people unhappy? And then I also was looking at the life of the people I'd been touring on. I was touring with people, I was living my biggest dream. Like, I had always wanted to be a sound engineer. I didn't know what it was called. I made it happen. That was major. But I was working for people really living their biggest dreams, writing their own songs, singing them around the world, tens of thousands of people, praising them, have everything. We're flying on vacations to private jet. One of the people I worked with bought the same shoes over and over again because she just forgot she had them. Like, they literally had everything, and they weren't happy, and they didn't seem to be fulfilled. They had, from the outside, everything, and I was working side by side with them, and they were not happy, and they were not it was just all came together, and I just I remember it being in an airport in Australia and like having this moment. And so I did end up leaving that tour, which was so hard for me because I was supposed to be on tour that entire year too, and it was my favorite people to work with. And I just knew I had to do something else with my life, that I wanted to shake people up, to be like, this is your life, live it. Stop making everything so hard and being unhappy and projecting your unhappiness out into the world, because that also happened. The boss, singer, if they're unhappy, nobody's happy. Everybody's walking around on eggshells. So you're not even affecting your own happiness.
So you left and traveled and kind of came up with this thing that you're doing now.
So I left the tour, which was really hard, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I did right away then went to Thailand for a month because I just needed to go run away and not know what to do. And then I did end up coming back to California, and I created a new position for myself on tour as a joyologist. And so because I also didn't know anything else besides the music industry and the touring industry, and I loved it. So I went back out on tour and said, I've got this new position. I'm going to be there every day, and I'm going to make sure that you are enjoying your life, and I'm going to call you out on your shit, and we're going to do yoga every day. I got certified as a yoga teacher during that time. I made all their food. I put affirmations up in their room. So I became many things. But they called me a joyologist, and the name stuck. I didn't have a title. I was just like, I'm going to come back on tour, and this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to love it.
So somebody just started calling you that? That wasn't like your name when you came back and was like...
They were like, all right, so Tricia's the joyologist. That's how it had, and then it stuck.
That's amazing. And so you've been able to obviously turn that into these products and things that we see you as here today.
Yeah, so that was 2009 that the Joyologist was created on tour. And then so over the time, again, I would go on tour with an artist and I'd have time off, and during the off time I'd either travel on my own. One time I was like, I'm gonna go live in Italy.
So one thing about Tricia is this. So Tricia, if you can't tell already, she's a pretty straightforward person, and you're definitely one of the most authentic people I've ever met in my life.
Thank you.
But what I know about Tricia and what I remember is there was a buildup of Tricia going to India.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is another, I was on contract with a person, so I had been touring for like a year and a half straight with the person, and I knew when the tour was ending, and then they'd go back to writing, and I wasn't around for that part. And again, I was like, all right, when this tour is over, what am I gonna do? I moved around so much, I didn't really have belongings. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to India. Okay, you can get a visa for 6 months. I'm going to India for 6 months. I'm giving whatever belongings I have away. I am going to India for 6 months, and who knows where I'll go after that. Like, I am probably not coming back. And this was like, months of build-up.
This was like a build-up. And I only bring this up because, again, I've known Tricia, so I saw the experience kind of happening through social media, as we do sometimes, and was like, I'm giving this away, going to India for 6 months. Hey, who wants this? Going to India for 6 months.
Packing, got the final pack.
And so she was putting it out there. And again, what happened when you got to India, and how long were you there?
So yeah, I'm going to India for at least 6 months, and I'm probably who knows when you'll see me again, maybe in 2 years. I got to India and I realized that, also this is what happened. The day before I was leaving, a friend of mine threw a little going away party, and my friend said to me, what are you most excited about for India? And I was like, I'm so excited to not be around anybody I know.
Wow.
And I hadn't really thought about that until he asked me. And I got to India, and I was so excited to be there, and I still want to go back and experience. It was beautiful, and the people are beautiful, and so much experience in that small time. I say small time because after 3 weeks, I came back because I realized I really was just running away. What I wanted to go to India for was to do yoga, to write, and to learn how to run and be near a beach. None of the things had to do with India. And so I got to India, and I did get sick, but I knew that it was just like, it could have been, I probably could have recovered there, but I just realized that I basically was running away from everybody because I didn't want to have to be in California and to say no to people. Like, that was me learning boundaries. And like learning that it was okay for me to say no. And I didn't have to go to everybody's shows. I didn't have to say yes to everything. I didn't have to help everybody. I didn't have to, because I loved to be there for people, and I loved showing up for people, and I loved supporting people, and I was really good at it. And then I ran away to India so that I wouldn't have to say no to anybody or show up for them. This was all me realizing it once I got there, and then being like, I'm a really good packer, obviously not meant to be a backpacker.
But I wanted to kind of chime in here for a second, because I thought it took a lot of guts to come back and say something different, but also...
I was like, that's not India.
Well, no, I wanted to put this up as a transition into where you are in your life and travels now, but I really just wanted to take that moment to see about how India and how all that really affected you as realizing what it meant for you, the travels. Not so much India and like how you wish you would have had more time or whatever it would have been, but for you realizing what you needed and that you thought you were running away and wanted to come home to experience that. And how your life has completely changed now as a mom of 2 and running a business, and how you travel now.
Yeah, I think it was a big deal, and I almost didn't come back from India because it was mostly the fear of what will people think of me. I told everybody I was going to go for 6 months. I thought I was like so cool. Look at me backpacking and living in India. And once I got there, I was like, I don't think I actually want to be here. I think I just want to be in California. But I realized all of that. But it was so hard, like scary and hard to be like, what are people going to think about me? And I think that that's a big part of how we live our lives, is this fear of what are people going to think about the choices. Like, I also remember being in India and being like, well, before I go home, I have to visit the Taj Mahal, right? Because if I went to India, I have to go. And like, in that part of traveling of like, when you go somewhere that you have to see the top things. And I've never cared about the top things or whatever. And that too, it felt like I should, which that should for me is if you saw my stuff in the back of the room, I have fuck the shoulds, do the wants is one of my product lines. That also happened when my father passed away and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I cut the word should out of my life. And so I'm constantly asking myself, what do I want? Or finding the intention behind things. And so it was like, I should go to the Taj Mahal. I should stay in India because I said I was going to. I should. And then seeing, but what do I actually want? Or why? Why do I have to go to the Taj Mahal? Because that's what other people do? No, do you think that I went?
I don't know. Did you not go?
I didn't go.
You didn't go?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, but like that I'm constantly, by not using the word should, that I'm constantly asking myself, what do I actually want? And like, why do I want to do that? Is it just because that's what people expect of me? Or that's what other people would do? Huh. And so now
how does that affect your travels now as a mom with your kids?
You know, traveling with the kids it's its own animal, and they're 2 and 4 now. And I just choose to see it as an adventure. Travel days are adventure, and I have very low expectations. I think that's another great thing for traveling is not expectations and like this vacation, like it's a vacation, then you can put too many, like high expectations on how things are going to go or travel, that it's going to be the best. And they're like not having expectations or having very low expectations makes it much more enjoyable. I do love traveling with them. Their dad still tours. He's a guitar tech. I've traveled with when Zia, my oldest, was 1. We went over there for her first birthday, and then to London. He works a lot in London with the UK bands. This is a trip. Arrow was 1 and Zia was 2, and I flew alone to London from California with a 1 and 2-year-old on red eyes. It's just an adventure day, guys.
Oh,
that's
you were that person.
Day.
You were that person, huh?
But it's just one day out of your life. And so I am still like, I don't travel a ton right now with them, but I still say yes to traveling because I do want that experience.
Well, let me ask you
this. Even though there's going to be a lot of challenges.
Well, let me ask you this. So if you look at the whole kind of scope of your travels from with the music and as a music engineer, or even through Thailand or India, and now with your kids, what does travel mean to you?
Every time I think of that question, the only thing that comes up for me is exploration. That seems too simple, but for me it is exploration, but I don't think that just means in seeing the sights. It's personal exploration. And I think, especially when you're traveling alone, it can be such an amazing insight into yourself and allowing yourself to be yourself because you're not worried about what everybody else wants to do and that, or just allowing yourself to be exploring. And exploring also, traveling with kids, a lot of people just want to talk about how hard it is, so then it can seem like, oh, I can't travel with my kids because it's going to be so hard. What if you explored a different thought process on that and chose it to be fun and chose that there'll be memories I always remember, even if there might be some challenging moments, and there will be.
Tricia Huffman, aka Your Joyologist, it's a pleasure to have you here. I can look at you as someone who's seen me in my life through my travels and my explorations. It means a lot to me, but watching you and how you've evolved from the music side to where you are, keep crushing it and claiming it. Make sure you check out her Claim It podcast, her stuff in the back, her products, book coming out, everything else you're doing. Just an honor to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank y'all.